All right, I'm going to do a video here of how to make a token in OnShape that you could use for the board game you're designing for Introduction to Engineering Design. So I've logged into OnShape here. I'm going to go ahead and create a new document. So I'll click Create Document. I'm going to call this Game Token. So this token could be, think about like in checkers or, some sort of marker that you move around the board, or possibly it stands for points that you could have in front of each player as they earn points, or it could stand for money or other little, tokens that they earn in the game. So let's just start with sort of a basic round token. Now, you're always going to start with a sketch, and I'm going to click this sketch tool up here. Click Sketch, and it wants me to select a sketch plane. For a token, you just want to draw it nice and flat, so I'm going to put it on this top plane right here. You can see there's 4 planes. There's the front plane, the right plane, this top plane. I'm going to click top plane, and now you'll see it says Sketch 1 over here, top plane. Don't click this green check mark till you're done with the sketch. I know it's very tempting to do. It's green. It wants to be clicked, but don't do it yet. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my circle tool, click my circle tool, and I'm going to start in the origin. I'm going to click, move out, and I'm going to click again. Now, if that doesn't look like a perfect circle, it's because we're looking at this from a weird angle. So if I use like my arrow keys, I can turn around and look at it from different angles. Or if I want, I can go up here to this view cube and click on the top view and get a nice flat down view. So I can see a nice circle there. One of the most important things about CADing is that you always add dimensions to anything you draw. So I can go up to this dimension tool. It also has the hotkey of D, so you can press the D key on your keyboard, or you can click the dimension tool right here. Now, whenever you do a dimension, you have to first click what you want to dimension. So I'm going to click the edge of this circle. Then you have to place the dimension down. And this might seem strange, but when you do more complicated CAD, you don't want your numbers interfering with what you're drawing. So you need to come out here and you need to click again to set down that number. And now I can type in how large I want this token to be. Let's say I want this token to be 3/4 of an inch. So 3 divided by 4 and hit enter. That's a 3/4 of an inch token, 0.75. Let me zoom in. Oh, I accidentally clicked dimension again, so I'll hit escape to undo that. There's also an undo button up here that's very helpful. I'm going to zoom in, just with my slide my fingers on the trackpad, and let's go ahead and add something onto this token. Maybe this token stands for money in the game. So let's go ahead and add a money symbol. I'm going to use this text box, and I'm going to draw this text box right here. And for my text, I'm going to do a $sign. You can select all sorts of different fonts. I like the stencil font because then you never have to worry about like the center of your words falling out when it gets cut out by the laser cutter. I'm just going to click the stencil font, click the green check mark. And as I said before, you always want to dimension things. So this looks like it may be about the right size. It looks a little too big. So if I grab the dimension tool, I can go and click the side of this text box, and I can say, you know what, instead of 0.54, I really want it to be 0.5. Okay. Unselect my dimension tool. And now maybe I can move this around and see where I want to put it. Okay. Let me use my arrow key. Grab this corner here. It's not moving around how I want it to. So I maybe have created on accident a constraint. Let me click Show Constraints over here. Let's see if I have any here. This has to be horizontal. Oh, so I have this constraint unintentionally. This says coincident. So when I drew this text box, I actually made it so it had to be touching the edge of this circle. It thinks that the edge of my text box has to be touching the edge of the circle. So let me go ahead and click that constraint and press my backspace or delete key. Now I can uncheck Show Constraints to hide them. I should be able to move this around more easily. There we go. If something like that happens and it doesn't make sense, it's acting screwy, maybe you know what to do to figure that out. Maybe you don't, in which case just undo stuff and try it again. That's sort of my best piece of advice here. So this looks not bad about where I want it to be. Let me actually move it a little bit to the left. There we go. Too far to the left. All right, so I'm going to click the green check mark. I'm done with my sketch. Now you can click that, and it will exit sketch mode. If I change my mind about anything, I can come over here on the left and double-click sketch 1 to reopen it and change things about it. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and extrude it. I'm going to use my arrow keys again to view this from an angle. So you can see I'm viewing it from different angles. I'm going to select the area that I want to extrude. Now you notice I didn't click the line. If you click the line, that's not the same. I don't want to extrude a line. I want to extrude an area. I'm going to take that area, select extrude. And for any tokens or anything we make in the laser cutter, we're going to use 1/8 inch thick plywood. So under depth of my extrusion is going to be a solid extrusion. I want it to be a new part. I've already selected that face of the sketch that I want to extrude. And my depth, I'm going to do 1 divided by 8 for 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to click that green check mark. Okay. So that is a little token that I could make on the laser cutter. I could make 20 to 30 of those really quick for your game. It would be no problem at all. Okay. Let's do this a slightly different way. Let's say, for instance, I wanted to make a token with a star, and instead of cutting away at it, let's say I want it to, pop off the top. So let's create a new sketch. I'm going to draw my sketch, this one again on the top plane. Click this right here. Let's draw another circle. I'm going to make this go directly to the left of my previous one. Let's make this one a little bit larger. Let's make this one 1 inch. So I'm going to go to my dimension tool, select the edge, and make this 1 inch, slightly larger circle. And let's say for this one I want to put a star on it. So maybe I should grab this line tool here, and I want it to be centered above this. So there's a lot of little tips and tricks you'll kind of pick up along the way, but if I hover over the center and I move straight up, I can make sure that I'm in line with it. And maybe I should go ahead and draw a star like this. Now there's a lot more I could do to make sure that that was more symmetrical. I can go in and explore these tools, and I can make things equal, I can make things parallel, I can redefine things. There's a lot I could do, but I'll leave that up to you to experiment with and play around with. Whoops, I'm accidentally drawing another line. Let me select my line tool. But let's say that was good enough. Let me go ahead and click my green check mark. And now I can select this area and extrude it 1/8 of an inch. And now I want to select this area there for the star. Now, after you use a sketch, it will hide it. So I want to bring that sketch back. So you see here, this is sketch 2. I'm going to click this eyeball so it comes back. Now I can select this area. And let's extrude this again. I'm going to add it to my previous extrusion. So you can see this is a solid extrusion that I'm adding to part 2, which is my outer piece. I'm going to make this a little taller than 1/8 of an inch. Let's make this 3/16 of an inch. I'm going to click the green check mark. Now I've got this token. Now this token couldn't be 3D printed. Couldn't be laser cut, but it could be 3D printed. So this might be something that we send to the 3D printer instead. So kind of the way you design it depends on how you want to manufacture it. Let me go ahead and hide the sketch 2 to get it out of the way. And there it is. Now let's say you were wanting to send these files to get them laser cut or 3D printed. So I'm going to show you the difference between those. For a laser cut file, it's a 2-dimensional file, so you'll just hover over the surface that you want to cut. So this surface here is the surface I'd want to cut. Then if you right click, you can select export as a DXF DWG. There is export. That's a 3-dimensional export. This is a 2-dimensional export, which is what the laser cutter wants. Export as a DXF DWG. I give it a name. I might call this $token. I change my format to DXF. That's the one the laser cutter likes. And I click export. And you'll notice that it downloads the file that you can then send to be the laser cut. For this assignment, you will upload that file that you have there. For the other one, because it's a 3-dimensional file, it's very similar. I'll right-click it, but instead of export as a DXF DWG, I'll do a traditional export. This is a full 3-dimensional export, which the 3D printer wants. So I might call this $token. The format, there's a lot more types of 3D files in terms of formats. And in our class, to be 3D printed, we're going to use STL. It's at the very bottom of the list. Make sure your units are in millimeters. That is not the default, so change that to millimeters. That way it's the proper size when we open it in the software for the 3D printer, and click export. And once again, you'll see that you download that token. And these are the files that you would go ahead and submit to be 3D printed or laser cut. And for this assignment, you would submit one of those as well. So for this assignment, you need to make a token. It can be either a 3D printable token or it can be a laser cuttable token. Don't make it too big because this is a board game. It's not a coaster. So make sure you dimension it. Give it some sort of meaningful symbol that could have some meaning in your game. And that is how you make a token.